Hello and namaste and shalom, everyone. Thank you for joining another session of Yoga Readers. Today we are closing the reading of Light on Pranayama by B.K.S. Iyengar. And it's both sad and also very happy. I think I feel very happy for finishing something that we begun. I think one of the big things with picking up a book is actually going through it and finishing the process. Now, maybe some of you didn't read the whole book, maybe you skipped a few parts. It does not matter because you're still here today. And the fact that we started a process 5 months ago and you've been keeping on doing it during this whole time, I think that's a reward in itself. And even if there are questions left open, which is completely understandable, is something that lingers on with us in the future. So this is very substantial. It's a big thing. I think it's unique for online communities to have such a long process going on for many months. So I really appreciate every one of you taking part on Zoom sessions, also messaging me on WhatsApp, Facebook, emailing me. It really has been a wonderful journey. I keep on learning from you on how to do things in a different way, what is accessible, what is not yet clear enough. And for me, it has been really a very insightful journey. So we had the first session about this book in January, which is when I shared with you my vision of how we're going to read the book. So we went by chapters, but I created these reading units. But then I didn't know really how it's going to evolve. The special sessions with Stephanie Quirk, and especially her Pranayama courses, wasn't something clear to me when we started the reading. It came along. And then the in-depth web post that I shared with you about Hanuman and the city of Brahma and the body as a temple, they came along during the process. So not everything that I prepared was ready from the beginning. And it's the first time that I gave you the study pack, which we did not have in the previous 3 books. And also the reader, which is like a map of the whole book. These are 2 completely new things that I thought of during this process. So I'm very grateful for all of you for being part of this. And I ask you to write in the chat before we began the session where you're joining in from and what do you think has happened after reading the book. So some of you shared that you're joining from north of England and that you feel more at ease with the book and your practice. Others are joining from the UK, from Norway, from India. And Hina shared that now she knows all the details which she had missed when she read it earlier. Others are joining from Australia. So I think it's all quite exciting. Oh, Thailand, that's Napisa, hi. And Martina from South Africa, Cape Town. It really feels amazing. We are all sitting at our computers, alone in the room, but at the same time, we're together as a global community. It always warms my heart to know that even though perhaps I'm one of the only scholar practitioners in Jerusalem who are like really reading the book line by line, others in the world are doing the same thing. And we have a chance to meet with each other and talk about these subjects that we care about. So that's a great gift of this online platform. So I prepared a presentation to you to kind of summarize what we did. I'm not going to redo the PowerPoints from our last sessions of the actual subjects that we went through. This is like an overview of what we had. Then I want to hear from you as well. So if you have something to say while I'm presenting and summarizing, please open your mic, feel free. We'll have like a survey, quick survey, like to talk about what we had, your experience, as I have shared mine. And we will also have time for discussion at the end. I hope we will finish in an hour. Okay, and I also hope that an hour will be enough for us. So we had, during 5 months, 10 Zoom sessions, including this one, and we read through 30 chapters of the book. So 10 sessions, not 9. Okay, so we had 9 sessions. We had 30 chapters. We had one special session with Stephanie Quirk about Pranayama, and then 2 courses with her, one in March and one in May. I participated in both of them. I would be happy to hear from others what you thought about her courses. For me, it was quite interesting. And our community has grown to over 1,700 people. I think on Facebook it's over 2,500 people, but I'm not sure who is reading with us on Facebook and who is like drifting and reading just some of the posts, which is of course also fine. So our reading community is really spread out through WhatsApp, Facebook. We have the Zoom sessions, which for me are the heart of this. We also have a really nice website now with clear reading sections for each unit, and the newsletter, which is growing. And I'm very happy to explain in each newsletter what we have read, some notes about our Zoom discussions, and then what we are about to read. It's like it sums it all up in the newsletter, and I tend to send those twice a month. And I did want to emphasize that most people who buy Light on Pranayama and they start reading it, usually they give up. And if they are in teacher training, they would skip some parts and go to the technique, the meat of the book, and won't stop and think over and over about the metaphors, about the small referrals that Iyengar has all over the book. Like there is not enough time to really go into this very dense, very complicated book. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. And we did it. We finished it. We read it together. I did want to tell you about that what happens behind every one of our sessions. So it's clear that I had to read and reread the sections and then prepare like guide how to which focus questions should we have. A lot of questions that I thought of were like dropped because I wanted us to have 2 or 3 of those. Reflection prompts, I had a lot of thought put into that because I wanted to connect whatever we read to how we experience our practice in light of what we read. And that's a very important bridge in my eyes to connect whatever we read to our experience, because otherwise it really stays theoretical. And then I added some Sanskrit glossaries that's in the study pack. A lot of thought went into the newsletters. I picked the quotes in the beginning of every newsletter, and then I summed it up and shared from my own experience each week, even when the war was going on. I mean, I shared with you how difficult it was and my thoughts about should we go on or should we stop? Should I take a break right now? The WhatsApp announcements and the Facebook posts, they also take quite a lot since I realized that I need to have images and not just texts and then links to everything. So that's a lot of logistics, but I do hope that it helps you navigate as you read. I remember that once I was in like this book club, academic book club, and they just told us the schedule, what to read, when to read, and that was it. And then when we finished the thing, we met and we talked. I mean, I didn't have WhatsApp announcements and Facebook posts, but I do those because I hope that they help with your reading. If one day I'll find out that they are not necessary, it will take off a lot of the load. And then the website session pages, as I said before, they like concentrate everything we need for each reading session. And I hope that made it more clear, like a structure. Sometimes I had extra time, so I made quiz questions. Sometimes it was one question, sometimes it was several. And then I finished by creating this light on pranayama reader. So I sent out, I think it was about 25 newsletters in English and Hebrew. And I had hundreds of messages from you. It was emails and comments on Facebook and questions or reflections. And I'm grateful for them. So this is like behind the scene. So that's the container, and now what happened within it. So I feel that we did a journey from breath or breathing to understanding the function of prana. And I like this quote of Guruji. He says, inhalation is the act of receiving the primeval energy in the form of breath. So it's not something we take in, it's receiving. It's being open enough, is holding space in order to get something in. And I felt that something shifted while we read. Maybe in the beginning it was like curiosity. I really want to know how to practice pranayama better. I'm not sure we all started this book because we were curious about the chakras or other references that we had along the way. But I felt during my rereading of the book this shift of pausing with some questions, thinking things over, and also thinking about what I'm going to share with you. And when questions came up, I didn't always have an answer, and I kind of took my time to think it over. So here are some visuals I wanted to share. I wonder if you can see the whole thing. And I put some of these in the reader as well, and some of these are already shared with you in the past. So I felt this time, I didn't do it in the previous books, that this imagery that I can carefully curate with AI, and my God, the mistakes that it does. So I really have to take care of the text, see that it's not putting in unnecessary things that are not related to what we're reading, but really feed it, especially the data that we have and the metaphors that I would like to present to you. And then we have these nice images that help us organize our thoughts and, I hope, understanding. So this is like the 3 parts of the breath. And here it's similar, but here there is a bit more elaboration about the different states of kumbhaka, and then the mother-child bond, which is one of the many, many metaphors that we had in this book. Here are some more metaphors. And what I did in the Light on Pranayama reader is that I took most of the metaphors I could find and kind of put them in this like catalog or in an order, so that when you're teaching and when you're practicing, you can take the relevant metaphor and work with it. I know that the fragrance of a flower metaphor for inhalation, to make the inhalation softer, to make it slower, and then you think of, oh, how do I smell a flower? That really helps. And I heard this outside of Iyengar yoga, like even in mindfulness, they use it. But then other metaphors like the irrigation canal or Krishna playing the flute or the mother taking care of her infant child are more like Iyengar jargon specific. So, but we can map all of these out. And then I also created this atlas of pranayama techniques. This is a very nice image I wanted to share with you because we did read 12 of them. Not all of them are up here. There are 12 techniques of pranayama, if we could call them techniques. And it's, I feel like it gets very technical when you say Nadi Shodhana 4B. Like, it's hard to remember what exactly it means. And I did give you some hints about how to do it and like write it down yourself every stage. But I feel like it's also nice to have these images and keep in mind that there is a diversity to it. There is different energy to it. It's not just remembering, oh, this is the beat, this is the cooling, this is the warming. I mean, we have to connect them together and see them as a whole, the whole picture of it. Do I need to heat? Do I need to cool? Do I need to balance? So this is a bit schematic of how we started and what changed. So I discussed a bit prana now, but at the start I called it technique hunting. It's a bit harsh, I feel now, but it's that curiosity about technique. How can I perfect my technique? How can I advance my technique? And then I felt that during our reading, we started thinking, why does he say it in this way? Could he have said it in a different way? What is he not saying? Our discussion about anuloma and pratiloma, like why is viloma missing in one of them? Or our discussion about Bastrika and Adishodhana, why is he cautioning women not to practice it? Is it a historical context? Is it energetical? Is it physiological? So it's not only looking for how to do it, it's like understanding the greater picture of what Iyengar was trying to convey. So we were not just reading through to get something out of it. We were paying attention to the language. That's part of the metaphors, I think. And also, was it, I don't remember who it was, but someone asked Stephanie, what's the difference between extending the breath and prolonging the breath? And that stayed with me until now, because the delicacy or the accuracy or the small nuance in language. What does it mean to extend or prolong? And I also remember her answer. It was quite interesting. But it's the same thing during the book itself. What language he used to convey his innermost thoughts about this. So maybe in the past, if you would take this book and read it, you would like skip the metaphors because that's not the meaty part of it. But now we kind of stayed with the metaphors and we try to understand what it actually means. If at first we were expecting clear answers, clear tables, clear everything, now I hope that we can tolerate uncertainty and like understand that he didn't answer all. It's not possible. And in our last session about meditation and shavasana, I think that's where we most felt that some things cannot be conveyed in words. And some things are there to be experienced, but then it's very hard to share them and, of course, teach them to someone else. Like there's a door where you can lead your students to or yourself with words, and then they have to pass through it on their own. So words can take us so much. And if in the past, this book would be something that you would just read through, now we actually stopped, discussed, asked, had an opinion. Do we agree with it? Do we not agree with it? And it made the reading more active. And some of you shared along the way struggles that you had. And I felt that these were reoccurring themes. So these things kept on coming back. This is like a summary of it. Kumbhaka evoked fear. Some of you said that stopping your breath made you or your students go through something like a panic attack. And we talked about how Kumbhaka affects the nervous system directly, as does all breathing in Pranayama. And then we discussed several times trauma and breathing. Stephanie also addressed this with the emphasis on the abdomen coming up or going down with people who suffer with trauma. And in her course, she also addressed how to practice when someone feels shaky or uncertain. I was practicing the first course in my bomb shelter during sirens. So that was very actual for me, and it was extremely helpful. We also talked about the ethics of practice, when to teach students, when not to teach students, how much do we share? Should we share everything? Should we hold back? Are the students ready? What are the cautions that we need to take with it? We talked a lot about effort and over effort. Usually mistakes happen when we try to overdo. I hope we learned a lot about patience and how Iyengar Pranayama practice evolved over time and how it takes maturity. So we need to be more patient with ourselves and maybe with the students as well. We talked a lot about listening, how it's hard actually to listen to the body, what the body needs. Sometimes we need someone else to guide us through the stages, but then the real guide is within ourselves and it's not always clear. We talked about sensitivity, the quality of touch, in the Vishnu mudra, in the Pranayama mudra, and also about exhaustion and rest. So these topics came up as challenges, as struggles, and yeah. So I describe these themes in my own words, but let me give you some of your own words back now. So this was wonderful. I got really a lot of good feedback. I'm just sharing part of it. So someone said, what an experience to read the book and feel like being part of a community who reads it at the same time. This really resonates with me as well, because it always feel I'm not alone reading this book. The Pranayama classes with Stephanie Quick were amazing, a gem. I agree with that as well. It will change forever my Pranayama practice. These reflections have made practicing exciting again and less strenuous. And I'm really happy whenever I realize that something theoretical that we're reading together, which is practical, is actually affecting the way you practice on your own, is a huge reward for me on its own. And then someone shared, you're very clear in all your explanations, which is very rare within philosophy. So I did study philosophy for 3 years, and then the MA PhD was about Hinduism, which is somehow detached from Western philosophy. But I always felt like it's very important to be clear and to make this knowledge accessible, even when it is complex. So I put a lot of effort into breaking down complex ideas, and I'm very happy when it's clear. Our sessions enable an actual breathing space between the text, the thinking of it, and its practical applications, which is amazing. An excellent stewardship that nudges us to be more curious about the material. I had to look up the word stewardship to understand what it means, something like an ambassador, and that's a bit of a big role for me, but I appreciate all the feedback. So this is about the demographics of our group. The majority is from the States. We have quite a lot of participants joining in from India, from the UK, Australia, and Canada, and others, which is more than half of the population, but I couldn't go more into like smaller countries by percentage. We have people from all around the world, and that's extremely exciting. And the majority, a third of participants, are over 45. So what's next? We have the study companion to Light on Pranayama and the study pack, which means that even if you didn't participate in all the Zoom sessions and you want to go back to the sessions, or you want to have the study companion, it's there on the website. It will be available for the next year at least. Then we have the Light on Pranayama reader, which is, I take a lot of pride in that file right now, and I get good feedbacks on that as well. I am going to send you a feedback survey because I think that there is always place for improvement. So I would really appreciate if you could take about 5 minutes of your time to fill that. And our next reading is supposed to happen in October 2026. So that for now. Do you want to ask something, add something?
I am a bit curious about our next reading. What are you planning to read next?
I have a plan, but I also want to ask you all in the survey for ideas.
Okay.
So I'll tell you what. We already read Light on Life, Tree of Yoga, and Gem for Women. And now we've finished Light on Pranayama, and a lot of people were asking for Light on Pranayama. And I think that if people were not asking for this book, I would have passed on it because it was the most challenging reading until now. And my best friends who are teachers, Iyengar yoga teachers, told me, you're nuts. people won't finish it and it's too difficult and you'll have to stop every other page and explain everything. And you're expecting people who are not teachers to read this, and it will be just mission impossible, and you're gonna lose all your community. But so many people were asking for this book that I kind of thought, let me take on this challenge, which was huge. It was really the most difficult book in the most difficult times for me. So my mind can change by your request. It's a community. It's not just me deciding on what we're doing.
I'm sure everybody in this group, at least, is very happy that you decided to do this because, as you said, I think I have owned this book for at least 15 years. I never read through the whole book. I was always just going for the parts and promising myself that I will do it one day. But I never did until now. And I'm so happy that I participated. And this is the first time I'm participating in the group. And I don't know which kind of a universe forces. And I'm normally not on the Facebook so much, but I saw it on the Facebook and I was like, gosh, I have to do this. I'm so happy I did. And I'm so happy that you are here providing us with this wonderful opportunity. So thank you.
So Nada, what helped you to keep on reading this complex, dense, hard to read book?
Because now we had a kind of structure and we should do it in 8 parts. And there was a deadline. And I'm a person like, don't have to have a deadline because I have so many things I want to do. And then many of them don't get done because I always find something else. So, and also from the very beginning, I was like, okay, I can always watch the replay or whatever, you know. I had this mindset, I'll manage somehow. But then when we started for the first time, I was like, I really have to participate. This is so good. It's keeping me on the track and I can ask my questions. And I always have 100 questions about everything. And it was really helpful that there was a community there. So it was my priority number one to make time to participate. And it was just only the last time that I couldn't because they changed our flying time. I was planning to do it in the morning and we would fly later on. But then because of this oil crisis and everything, they changed the schedule. I was like, the last session, I couldn't participate. But of course, there is a recording. So I think it helps many people to kind of have some kind of structure because those difficult books, it's a kind of difficult to have a discipline yourself, especially when you come into some area that you are not 100% sure that you understood. You feel this, I can't go further before I understand this. And then you get stuck there and then you never pick it up again. At least that's how it works for me. So structure and of course your knowledge and you are very mellow person, which I like, and you are very forgiving. Like it's okay if you don't understand everything and so on. So I think it's very helpful.
Thank you.
So that's my opinion. Thank you.
Anyone else wants to share? Or ask a question?
A book, if you just read it, it's pretty dry reading unless you're looking for a very specific pranayama technique. So because you made it as a part of the curriculum to read a certain section before we meet, and then you give questions or quizzes about that section, you read it more intricately and you can relate to it, and you end up reading it more carefully. And of course, it's interesting once you do read it like that. And then the discussion afterwards definitely helps because you explain it so well. Thank you.
Thank you, Hina.
I like the fact that there was no expectation from us, but to show up. I love the fact that you included Stephanie. The activity of making it that real and it affecting us and having an effect on us, it's fundamental to the process of learning Prāṇāyāma. So I love that combination. And it forced me to go back and reread certain sections that I might have overlooked, something that was so fundamental to that aspect of breathing, or Prāṇāyāma, I should say. And it changed it for me. I appreciate the fact that you put the effort into creating a structure that includes everything. It was good. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Martina.
Agi, actually on chapter 6 here, and I think this is so relevant. It talks about a guru, and I'm not sure how to pronounce the pupil part. Shishya. Okay. Yeah, it's really been very heart-opening. I wasn't aware of this course right at the very beginning, but I joined at some point. And it says here about how that a teacher is not content with a theoretical level only, and all the other parts that it says on that page. So I think if anybody wants to read chapter 6, that first page, that's what you have been, free from desire of the fruits of your actions, and incredible what you are personally. I don't know what your personal life is like, but it must be very challenging. I told my students one day that my particular teacher said she have extra time if the ceasefire is on. It's has been quite amazing. I think, like many people, I've actually got several copies of this book. This one is a little bit almost starting to go moldy. Yeah, it's something that's really eluded me and interested me. And my personal journey with breathing and yoga has been incredibly challenging, where I was born with a cleft palate and a hair lip, had quite a few surgeries in my life. And it's really only through yoga that I realized, wow, I'm still not breathing, just physically incapable of breathing through my nose. And eventually went on and had 2 more surgeries. And the difference to my digestion, to my brain, to my anxiety has made a huge difference to my life. But yes, that course that we've done with you has opened up another level. So thank you.
Thank you, Isabelle. Michelle?
Oh, hi, Agi. So I'm sitting here incredibly frustrated. I have managed to miss most of the sessions. I'm way down here in New Zealand, which is the opposite end of the world. And with our daylight saving, the time we're starting at 9 o'clock at night. And of course, I get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning and just hardly manage to get through the sessions. But the other thing is I'm really struggling to find the recordings, because I want to go back and work my way methodically through them all again, especially while we've got this gap. But I don't know how to find them. I'm quite technically challenged with all this Facebook. And then I thought, like, it wouldn't let me in as a member. It wouldn't let me in. And it's like, well, I've been following the whole way through, so I can't remember what my passwords were. And the whole thing just got really hard. And I'm sitting here listening to everybody, and I'm so grateful for the effort and everything you put in. And I've just been so frustrated.
I'm really sorry to hear that. Let me show you the website, and whenever someone has a problem, please contact me, write an email or WhatsApp. I'm always here to help.
Okay.
One way is pressing on Yoga Reader's Light on Pranayama. This is one way to go about it. Then as I scroll down, I have the study pack right over here. The study pack, which is where the recordings are. And then I can buy it from here. Another way is to press on the shop, which is a new feature to help people navigate. And here already I have the Light on Pranayama study pack. So I can press that and it adds to my cart. And then I just need to be logged in, and you have access to all the recordings.
Okay. So to log in, I need to have my passwords and my...
It's a registration to the website, so it can recognize you after your purchase.
Okay, so by joining this reader group doesn't mean that I'm logged into your website.
No,
Okay,
no,
sorry.
because of privacy and security, and yeah,
So I need to register into that site
which
to
is
get
free.
access to...
Yes.
Okay, all right. So I'll just start from square one and see if I can get my way through there. Okay. And then all the weeks will come up, all the study weeks.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you know that I also have, so some things, in order to see, you need to be registered, like signed in, like a free lectures. But I do have a free resource page where you can basically read everything that I sent out on the WhatsApp and the Facebook, and it has parts with Gem for Women and then general things about Patanjali. And it just goes on and on for the YouTube talk about yoga and trauma. And there are guides that you can download for free. There's tons of material on the website, so it's a good idea to know it. These are 2 free talks, Ancient Wisdom and Modern Practice, about yogic texts, and this is about the legacy of B.K.S. Iyengar. I plan to do more of these free talks in the future. So it's a good thing to register. It's part of the
So
newsletter.
basically, register to the website, and then I should be able to access through the little things at the top. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll have a go at that. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank you, Isabelle.
I think you're an absolute legend.
Thank you. I'd like us to have like a poll, and maybe it will also help us to share a bit more from your experience. This is the first time we're doing it. Can you see it? Yes. Okay. So just answer. It's 6 questions, and then we can see the results. I'll just read them out in the time being. What changed most for you? Your relationship to breath, your relationship to effort and rest, understanding of Iyengar's teaching, your own teaching in classes, and patience with self-practice. The second question is, what helped you most? The communal reading, the summaries, the Zoom discussions, Stephanie's sessions, the newsletters, the WhatsApp reminders, or the study companion and Pat. 3 is, what surprised you most in light on Pranayama? The complexity of seemingly simple breathing, like maybe Ujjayi. The relationship between breath and mind, the amount of detail and precision, the metaphors and imagery, the warnings and cautions, or how relevant the book feels today. 4 is, what aspect of the journey engaged you most? Close reading of the text, hearing others' reflections, connecting philosophy with practice, Iyengar's language and metaphors, the historical scholarly context, reflecting on your own practice or the community itself. Maybe it's reflecting on my own practice, like when I shared from my own practice. 5 is, what kept you returning throughout the journey? Community, the structure, curiosity about the text, the discussions, the summaries and guiding questions, or the connection to your own practice, not mine. And the last one is, what did this community help you feel less alone in your interest in yoga philosophy? It does so for me. More motivated to continue studying, more connected to practitioners worldwide, more intellectually engaged, more reflective, more grounded in practice, or more inspired. So I don't know how it goes. I need to end the poll once everyone is ready. So 4 people answered so far. 7 people answered 8. Martina, did it disappear for you?
Yeah, it disappeared. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm ending it, and then it says something like share results. Can you see the results? Yeah, okay. So what changed for most of you is patience with self-practice. That's quite interesting, that you became more patient with yourself. And what helped you the most? The communal reading. So the fact that we were reading together as a community and not alone. So what surprised you the most? It's very close. 2 said the complexity of seemingly simple breathing, and 3 answered the amount of detail and precision. Yes. Yes, it's a very deep subject, indeed. What aspect of the journey engaged you the most? We have a small majority for reflecting on my own practice. and what kept you returning throughout the journey. This is also very close. The community, the structure of the rhythm, the discussions and the summaries, and what did the community help you feel more motivated to continue studying? I'm very, very happy with your answers. Sometimes people ask me, why do I do it? Why do I do yoga readers? Why is it all free? And I just tell them, my grandfather was an author. My mother is a librarian. I am a yogi who is also a scholar, and I appreciate books. They can give us a lot. They sit on the shelves. They are not read enough, and they can really help us in our everyday life. So this is part of my deep, deep motivation of continuing this community. Okay, so let's have now 10 minutes for a discussion. And I'll give you an idea of what to discuss, but you can share whatever comes up or comment on something someone else says. So I would ask you, what was one moment, one idea, or one discussion from this whole journey that really stayed with you? I shared a question that someone asked Stephanie as something that really stayed with me for long. You can take a few moments to think about it. I'll stop the recording. And if you can, just share one thing, could be a few, but one thing that really stayed with you. And then we'll come back and close. Thank you all for the discussion and for all the warm feedback. It really lifts my spirits and gives me strength to continue on. And I'm also glad about your questions about the threads of Patanjali course. I welcome everyone who wants to join, and we'll have recordings. And as I said, all the reading materials on PDF for those who register. And we have the Light on Pranayama reader, which some of you who are here today already purchased. It's about, I think, $33 for about 30 pages. I think that's very valuable. Already people said that they bought it as part of their getting ready for their assessment, because it's not just about what is the inhalation throughout all 30 chapters? What is Kumbhaka throughout all 30 chapters? Because when it addresses Kumbhaka in the beginning, and then when it comes up again, like in Viloma, and then it comes back up in the more advanced practices, he always gives a bit more elaboration on it and a bit more hints. So I try to take these threads from throughout the book and pull them together and have a comprehensive document about that. And that's it. If you have any more requests and thoughts about how we should proceed, I will send you a feedback survey that you can, it's like a Google form that you can fill in, and I hope I can learn from that. You can always contact me and let me know your thoughts or questions. And I hope to see you all in October. And since you all shared that you really enjoyed the journey, maybe you can think about one or two people who can benefit from our next reading cycle. Because I do my best to inform people through Facebook and WhatsApp. I know that in, I think it was Ireland, they shared the reading community in their association. So we had a lot of people joining in from there. Maybe you'd like to contact your Iyengar association and let them know about this community. It's whether or not Facebook likes me and promotes my ideas or not. But if you can think of one or two people who can benefit from it, please let them know. Teachers invite their students and so on. And it's completely free and open for all. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being open with me. Thank you for taking your time. And thank you, above all, for your seriousness and curiosity.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.